Good evening. My name is Samira Zimmerly, and on behalf of the Wooster Area Chamber of Commerce and our Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you to this special Business After Hours event with the Department of Defense Office's Employer Support of the Guard Reserve. ESGR, as it's known, has served our country for more than 45 years, where its primary focus is to promote cooperation and understanding between Reserve Services members and their civilian employers. Our program this evening is an extension of that focus, with a goal of fostering a culture in which local employers not only support but emphasize the importance of valuing the employment and military service of its members of both the National Guard and Reserve in the United States. Their selfless service, dedication, and sacrifice make our great nation the model for all others throughout the world and are a cornerstone to the freedoms that we are all so fortunate to realize. In Wayne County, we are blessed to have unwavering support from employers that consistently give to nonprofits, community initiatives, and local causes, all with the focus of making our community stronger and fostering positive growth. As a chamber spokesperson, I am proud of our local business community and know that the environment exists to support men and women of service through efforts that the ESGR is leading. We feel honored this evening to assist in bridging the gap of understanding and engagement by connecting our business community with the ESGR through this signing ceremony that shows our support for the efforts and those that they represent. Again, we thank you for being here and for your show of support for these efforts. I would now like to welcome Tom Maurer to the stage to introduce our keynote speakers for this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Did I make help? Okay, good. Today you'll hear about the Employer Support Guard Reserve Program. For Wayne County, it is a relevant program that assists employers and service members remain current on issues at hand. The Guard Reserve Program is of national importance. Before we begin tonight, I'd like to ask Tim Neal, our Wayne County Clerk of Courts, to come forward for our Pledge of Allegiance, National Anthem, and our prayer for this evening. Tim, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I take this out, you think? Maybe better not. All right, our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Please remain standing for prayer. Our gracious Father in heaven, we come to this evening just so grateful for this country that we live in, this place that we were able to meet without fear of intimidation because we're free. We know that freedom has been bestowed upon us by you, Almighty God, and you have helped use and maintain that freedom with the use of our great military, the greatest military in the world. I ask now that your special blessing on what we're going to be doing here this evening, your special blessings on all the military personnel involved, and please your hand of protection on all those serving in our armed forces throughout the world. Thank you for all that you do for us. We ask one more time that you would please, God bless the United States of America, and it's in the name of the very powerful name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Tim. I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to Samara Zimmerly and the entire staff of the Wooster Chamber of Commerce, Matt Martin, the Secretary of Wayne County Fair, and ESG members Ebony Williams, Farrah Spazel, and Ernie Stone, along with so many others behind the scene. Tonight, I'm very honored to have been asked to MC this event. I am not a retired veteran military person. I'm a retired veteran law enforcement person. Being born and raised here, working a career in Wayne County, I feel very blessed in my life. My experience in the military for many years was through my father and his brothers who served with World War II, friends and associates serving in Vietnam and Desert Storm. Our friend Ernie Stone offered me a ride on a boss lift several years ago. And from that, I gained a higher respect for our military and a sense of readiness. It's beyond words. If you ever get a chance to go up on a boss lift ride, do that. You'll see the importance of having a military that's ready to go. Further, the Maurer family became part of this country's great military family as our youngest son, Paul, just joined the U.S. Navy. Couldn't be more proud. Over the years as sheriff, I witnessed the value of service members in our labor force. They show honesty, hard work, dedication, and the ability to listen. With us tonight was the last service member, which I was fortunate to employ before leaving office, Tom Ballinger from Orville. He came to us directly out of the U.S. Army and couldn't be more proud of him. He's a sterling example of what hiring a veteran means. There are about 29,000 Ohio Guard and Reserve in Ohio and about 921,000 private employers in Ohio. It means a commitment between the employer and the employee who's a guard or a reservist to offer this type of support to allow that person to leave for training and ultimately if they have to go to war for us. So that's a commitment on the employer, which most of you are here, and it's a commitment that you live with to be proud of your country. Our first speaker tonight is Steve Sivers, President and CEO of the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. Prior to this position, Mr. Stivers represented the 15th Congressional District in Ohio for 10 years. Steve is a career soldier, serving 30 years in the Ohio National Guard Army, earning the rank of Major General. He served overseas during Operation Iraqi Freedom, where he led 400 soldiers, all of which returned safely. He received the Bronze Star for his leadership. Please welcome Steve Stivers.
Thanks, Sheriff. It's great to be here in Wooster today. And, you know, I got here early. I always try to go someplace early and drove around downtown. And, you know, I was really impressed. Obviously, a great looking downtown. There's a lot of great historic buildings that have been well kept. But the other thing that was really stood out to me is there were no vacancies. You know, every office looked pretty full, and there's, you know, people working, and downtown was bustling. Samara, great job. The Chamber's obviously doing a great job. I know the Wooster Chamber has almost 1,000 members. You have a giant annual meeting that's the talk of the town whenever it happens. I guess it's happening in March. I'll try to come back for that. I'd love to be here for that. Super exciting stuff. But, you know, Wooster's got a great community, and it's got a great bunch of employers. I'm really proud to be here today for the signing of the statement of support of the Guard and Reserve with many employers that happen to be here today. You know, in my civilian career, I'm the President CEO of the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, and so we obviously try to get involved with a lot of businesses. We have about 8,000 members across the state, and the number one thing I hear from employers across the state is, what do you think it is? Right now, the number one thing I hear, what can they not find? Employees, help. And who are great employees? Guard and Reserve soldiers. And the sheriff already talked about it, but it's absolutely true. And in a community like this, I know that you know it. And by the way, it was great to see some old friends from here. Olivia Boyer, who worked on my 2008 campaign for Congress, is here, and she was an intern back in college then, and now she's a court administrator here, and it's great to see her. Obviously great to see General Carmody, who has always outranked me until I saw him today, so that was great to call him Todd. So never been able to do that before, but it was awesome to see him here today, and he's a great patriot and been a great business leader in the community, still involved in the hospital and in some anti-drug programs that you've got. But the number one thing we hear is about employees. And we hear it in Wooster, we hear it in Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, big markets, small markets, no matter the industry. And the thing you get when you hire a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, or guardian, I don't want to forget them, is you get somebody who's hardworking, they're drug-free, they have the ability to adapt, they're resourceful, they understand mission accomplishment, and they understand how to work as a team. Well, can anybody think of anything else you want in an employee? I sure can't. Those are amazing attributes, and those folks will serve you very, very well. And, you know, in the Ohio National Guard, we have 16,000 airmen and soldiers, in that case, no Marines or sailors or guardians yet. So, and obviously the Reserve has thousands of Ohio reservists who have full-time jobs too. And, you know, they can help their employers every day, and the leadership skills they learn in the military, they can use to apply to the problems in their civilian careers every day of the week. So it's amazing that so many of you are here to support our military. And as a general officer in the United States Army, I want to say thank you for being willing to support our men and women who serve in uniform to protect and defend this country. Thank you for that. That's it's something that we can never repay for your support of the National Guard and Reserve and veterans as well. By signing the statement of support today, you know, we'll all promise to recognize and advocate and provide opportunity to our country's servicemen and women in our workforce. And, you know, that is invaluable to them because I don't know, I can tell you as a soldier for now 37 years, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from soldiers and airmen and sometimes Marines and sailors about having a civilian career and getting deployed and having a problem because they were deployed or having a problem because they had to go to a drill or had to do military training. And so it's great to see so many patriotic employers and supporters of our military here today. And that's what ESGR is all about, making sure that those service members can have a civilian career while they serve our country at the same time and make sure that there is employer support of the Guard and Reserve. And so I want to thank Ebony and all the folks from ESGR that are here, and Michael and everybody that's here that serves on ESGR. Can we give them a big round of applause? Because they serve our military men and women every day. And finally, I want to say thank you to all of you for signing, those of you that are going to sign the statement of support. So I'll hold it up if you haven't seen it. So I've got my Ohio Chamber of Commerce one here. I'm going to sign it today with all of you and during the ceremonial signing. It's a big deal, and it says that you will support your servicemen and women and give them opportunities in a civilian career while they also serve our country. So, and you can read it. There's nothing in here that binds you to anything, but it's a great statement of support that's very patriotic, and I just want to say thank you so much. And thanks for allowing me to be part of it. And I think Ebony told me to just when I'm done, move over and let the sheriff come back up. Is that right, Ebony? I'm supposed to stay up here? Yep, that's what she said. So thank you for including me, and have a great night. God bless you.
Thank you, General. Our next speaker is Deborah Ashenhurst, Director of the Department of Veterans Services. Before this appointment, General Ashenhurst retired from the U.S. Army and National Guard after serving 37 years. She commanded 17,000 service members for the Ohio National Guard, Ohio Naval Militia, and Ohio Military Reserve. Her career culminated in the service as Special Assistant to the Chief of National Guard in Washington, D.C. Please welcome Deborah Ashenhurst.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. There's so much I want to share with you, but they only gave me a few minutes, so I'm going to talk fast, try to keep up. Oh, I see more friends out there. Hey, I'm happy to be here. And why is it, you heard I had a rather long career in the military well before when, I can tell you, I remember Steve Stivers as a lieutenant. That's how old I was when I was in there. But let me tell you a story. When I was a commander, I was a major. I had this really cool mission I was going to get to go on. I was taking a part of my unit to South America to set up in a third world area of South America to treat people, tell them how to treat cholera and things that we had cured many years ago. And one of the people that needed to go with me, one of my soldiers, came to me and said, I can't go. My employer says I can't. I'm like, oh, I know better than this. I know the law says they have to let you go. Now, I didn't know about ESGR at this point in my career. This was perhaps a few years ago. And he's like, I said, I'm going to call them. I'm going to tell me who your supervisor is. And he worked for a very prominent car dealership in Columbus, the biggest car dealership in Columbus. I'm like, I'm taking on the man. I'm going to take him on and tell him they have to let my soldier take this really unique mission with me. And this soldier was horrified. Ma'am, please don't do that. I'm like, no, they have to let you go. No, you don't understand. I'm saying, they can't fire you. It's okay. He's like, I'm not worried about being fired because they know they can't fire me. But when I come back, I will get nothing but warranty work. And I don't make the money by doing warranty work that I do with regular work. And I'm like, are you serious? So that was my first introduction into how our service members are discriminated against because they're in the Guard or because they're in the reserves. And that's why we need people like you that are willing to say, I'm going to support our reserve components. I'm going to make a difference by making sure they have opportunities in their full-time job, despite this really cool job they do in addition to what they do to raise their family and to live their life. That's pretty significant in my world. Now, I will tell you, we all know, as General Stivers shared, why you should hire veterans. But I'm going to tell you, it got a little hairy there for a while, didn't it, when all of our military members were going off to war. And that's hard on an employer. It's really hard on a small employer when their fellow employees have to carry the load for them, and maybe that employer can't afford to keep that position vacant. But then what happens when the service member comes back from war? Now you've got two people. Now what are you going to do? I mean, I understand the complexities of supporting our military members when they go off to war. But it's not even just going off to war. It's when they go off to training. Because we require them to get the same training as their active duty components, and that takes time away from their employers and from their families. So I know that even though you know you're getting this great employee, one that's going to really work hard for your company and make a difference with your team, but that you also have in the back of your mind what I'm going to do when they have to leave. And I know that the fellow employees that have to make up the difference. But I would tell you, it's amazing the stories I hear about employers that not only do they support that employee as they go off and do their patriotic duty in the military, they tend to stay in touch with the family, make sure the family has what they need. Some employers continue the insurances and things like that for their employee while they're gone. They wrap themselves around that family to invite them to picnics and make sure they have a good Christmas, all those things that our employers don't have to do by the law, but they willingly do because they think it's the right thing to do. And that's what I see when I come to events like this. And Samara, thank you so much. I love this opportunity to combine the chambers and the ESGR. What a great marriage. Whoever came up with that brainstorm was brilliant. We need to throw something positive their way. So it's important that you understand how we've gotten to where we are today, to make sure that we have really educated people out there in our ESGR world that can go talk to employers and help them understand. Now, I would tell you it's not always the employer who causes the problem. There are perhaps some military members that aren't very upfront about making sure their employer knows when they have to go to schools or when they have their drill weekends. They maybe aren't always as good about communicating up as we need them to. And I get that. And I'll tell you, that's the glory of our ESGR folks, because they will go negotiate that. They don't just talk to the employers about their responsibilities. They talk to the service member about what their responsibility is in this relationship as well. So it is a two-way street. So that's sometimes a delicate balance, and the people that volunteer and do this for us are brilliant. They are negotiators, and they just are patriots in my book. So hats off, particularly our state chairman here. Mike, thanks so much for the work that you do. And I know that you have a lot of folks across the state that won't say make your job easy, but they support you in what you do. And for Ebony with the work that she does behind the scenes and all that. And I'm blessed to work for a governor, and I do work for the governor as the Department of Veteran Services, who supports the causes of our military and is very supportive of our veterans as well. But he and the lieutenant governor, who did a recognition as August as ESGR month, because they get it. And they know that Ohio is the 5th largest Army National Guard in the state and the 2nd largest Air Guard in the state. And I don't know where we stand with the other reserve components, but they understand that large population here in Ohio that also stands up and says, I'm going to work and I'm going to be a citizen of Ohio, but I'm also going to serve my nation as I am called to do so. So I think it's really cool that we now have August as ESGR month, and that it's one way to recognize just not our service members, but also those employers that support them and allow them to do their military duty. So I just want to say thanks for having me here today, but I really appreciate that you're stepping up and actually signing on the line that you are supporting, that you're publicly stating your support for our service members. And I would really recommend, after you sign that, find a great prominent place in the entry to your business to post it, and hope that it will make people ask you about it. And you can tell them what great people you are for supporting our Guard and Reserve. Thanks so much.
One great speaker, two great speakers, now a third one. Next, I'd like to hand the program over to Mike Bamber. Mike is a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. He now serves as the state chair for the Ohio Employer Support Guard and Reserve Program. Mike, if you would, please.
As you heard earlier, and you've probably heard before, statement of support signing is an integral part of what we do. By signing a statement of support, your organization joins thousands of employers across the nation to show patriotic support of our proud service members. While many of you may not wear the uniform, you too are patriots in the highest degree. Just like Tom spoke about not being military, but having reservists and guardsmen on his force. Even though you are not wearing the uniform yourself, you are patriots to the highest degree. On behalf of the Ohio ESGR, I want to thank each of you for supporting our service members. At this time, I would like to bring up our awards director, Shaker Fidel, for a presentation. And Shaker's not able to climb the stairs, so we will be out front.
I've got to say a couple of things first. I was in the Air Guard, 1968, January. Thursday, like today afternoon, my phone rang at work at Goodyear. We got a call from our unit in Columbus. Come down here tomorrow night, Friday night, we're activated. And I was gone 18 months. One day notice to my boss. Very unusual. This was 1968. So anyway, I was gone, went to Korea, and Goodyear, there was no ESGR. There was no law, it wasn't USERA, 1940s law that protected us in a way. When I was gone, I was supported quite heavily from Akron. what I was doing. And I taught some Koreans. I had a group of Korean Army and Air Force people. I was teaching them targeting. And they wanted me to teach a course in computer science. And I just had a few weeks schooling with IBM in Akron. So they sent me over to Japan. I got to IBM, brought a bunch of books back. Goodyear sent me a bunch of things. And the best people in my class, and 50 people in the class, the Koreans were raising their hands all the time. And when I was there, they had nothing. It looked like South Korea does today. At any rate, when I came back, I got the same job level, actually the same job, and all my benefits that happened while I was gone. Again, with no ESGR, no USERA, but that's what happened for me in Akron, Ohio. And you know Stanley Galt, right? When he retired here, became the chairman of Goodyear. I forget what the year was. But anyway, what I'm up here to do is call Samara and Grace up. Are they still here? I'm just kidding. And, I'm in charge of awards for the state of Ohio, and well, you guys sign the statements.
We do have a special award.
Right. This special award is called the Seven Seals Award. It's not given to an individual. It's given to an organization that has gone above and beyond in the work they do in the support for us, the ESGR. Excuse me. But anyway, that is given to the organization that they, Wooster Chamber of Commerce, that they work for what they've done in helping us do what we have here today. And I hope I can take back to Akron and get the Greater Akron Chamber sometime in the future to do the same thing with you all down here. Anyway, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Statement of support.
Formal signing of the statement of support by Samara. Thank you very much.
So now is the time that you all sign yours as well.
May I have our distinguished guest speakers return to the podium? General Stivers, General Ashenhurst, please. Either way. On behalf of the entire committee, we'd like to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You've always been very supportive of us. We certainly appreciate it, and our men and women still serving appreciate it, as well as their employers. And I want to...
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you.
Good to hear.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
Okay.